Okay, so this is the chart we're going to be working with today. I'm going to put me over here for a minute. Chart 284, string shapes for major, minor, and modal triads pentatonic. Here's major, here's pentatonic, here's minor, here's half diminished pentatonic, here's half diminished triad. It's not as bad, it's not that much memorization once you find out what's going on. A little word here on dot scales review. Again, what we're looking at is the pattern stack, and we have the modes. And if you make any one of these string shapes here, if you make any one of them the bottom string and play up a diatonic scale, continue that diatonic scale in the key of root, whatever it is, okay? And with the long patterns, it really doesn't matter what it is. As long as you can consider that first note, lower E, one of these notes. So lower E can be the seventh, and you can play an E Locrian, which would be in the key of F. And we can play that key of F, okay, in the short patterns, because, and we can consider that root now, not the fourth anymore, it's the root, because it would be a key of F, because we have E would be its seventh, all right, and then this is warped over here, so we can play the key of F with the short patterns, but we can't play the E, so we can do, it goes, okay. I keep forgetting to warp that C over. Okay, so that's that Locrian. That Locrian is like. So that we can do it in F and on. F, F sharp, all the way up. But you just can't do the lowest E on the short pattern, so we came up with the long patterns. If we start any of these modal scales, so Locrians, Phrygians, Aeolian, and now I'm playing all the white keys now, so it's in the key of C. Ionian and Lydian. Sounds like a circle of fourths, but really it's kind of a circle of fifths, seven. It is a circle of fourths note-wise, because this is a P4 pattern stack. Aha! It should say that somewhere here. If it doesn't, it doesn't matter. It's understood. It's a P4 pattern stack. So those scales were in fourths, but they're in string-shaped fifths. That's the difference. They're in caged fifths, caged shape, positional shape fifths. So that's why we call this the circle of fifths here, C, G, D, A, E, and you go backwards. The diminished fourth of C is E, then the fourth of E is A, then the fourth of A is D, and the fourth of D is G, and the fourth of G is C. Okay, so if we consider the low E the seventh, so here's your low E, okay, I've got my capo where your fret nut is, low E. Okay, that sounds a little out of tune. Okay, let's just put Mr. Capo back on and ignore him. Alright, so we can consider this low E we can consider the low E the 7th to play the Locrian scale. If we consider the low E the root, we'll be playing Aeonian, but we have to play root 2-3. We're going to play the long pattern there. If we consider the low E the 7th, we'll be playing a Locrian pattern. Okay, if we consider the low E the 3rd, we'll be playing a Phrygian 3rd. I messed up that Phrygian 3rd. Isn't that ridiculous? Okay, and then we have, if we want to consider it a Dorian, do you get it? A Dorian, if we consider E the 2nd, it would be a Dorian. Okay, so it would be E the 2nd would be, now it would be the Dorian of the key of D. So it would be okay, so that's what it's going to be with that Dorian, and we play a D cage shaped diatonic scale there. But we got to go into the long pattern there because we're on the long pattern stack. So here's our Dorian, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going right into the long there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we want to go 7, root 2. Because you had to warp up coming out of it with that 7, root 2. That's the 7th of D, which is C sharp. Okay? So if we consider the low E, you know, these different scale values, then it's going to take on a different modal value. Now let's follow the white line and look why it goes to the dot scales. Okay, now this isn't that easy. It's not that hard. So we're looking at the dot on the G note. Okay, so here's my G. You know, it's a minor 3rd up from the low E. I'm a little sharp today. Maybe it's because of my Band-Aid. I really cut myself. There was a sharp edge down in that engine, and I was really wanting to get to that part, but I didn't want to get all cut. So here I am, bandaged up again for a few days. So let's look at the G dot here. What I'm saying in this diagram, now look over here, this is important. This is like the key. In the key of G, that would be the root. So from the G dot, it would be the root. We could play, we could go root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root. Or we could do a long pattern, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root. Now, if we want to look at it as the 2nd of a scale, we could look at it as the key of F. See, that was the key of G. Now in the key of F, it's the 2nd of the scale. So from that G dot, we'd play that 2 pattern again that we had going on. Okay, so I brought the pattern over to help us. Now this line coming in here, dot scales review, goes off the page and comes back in here. Okay, so it's like min terms and max terms in matrix algebra. So the G dot, if we consider it the root, we're in the key of G. If we consider the G dot the 2nd, we're in the key of F.